What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, representing the West High School Rebels, running Rebels with a cause. This is episode 6, and it's something that I like to call "We Sweepin' and We Ballin'," and we'll get into that shortly. Been a really fun week. A lot of basketball, and it showed last night. We lost a heartbreaker. We'll get into that here in a second. We're going to talk about all the games. Hardin Valley, that thrilling comeback against the Bulldogs from Bearden, making history. Let's not forget that we also have we had 2 road games, against William Blunt and Maribor, which I've spoiled a little bit. Plus, we've got 2 more games. One of them is a makeup from the snow. One of them was always on the schedule. So there's a lot of stuff going on. But that being said, I need to bring on my co-host, he is so talented and called such a beautiful game the other night, and it was so special to be a part of with him in that moment. Honestly, it really was. And he's so talented, and I can't thank him enough for doing this show with me. The time he puts in, he's a true rebel with a cause, and he gets so many thanks and for all he does for West basketball. He's been doing it for 18 plus years. Even when we were in school, he'd call the girls' soccer games or anything, volleyball, anything he could to get his voice heard on the mic, and he's amazing on the mic. He was 2003 Mr. West. He is just a guy, just a dude you can depend on, and he's my brother from another mother, the one, the only, two-pair Tate. Let's give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen.
I digging these introductions, man. These are pretty good introductions every time. I'm digging that, man.
Hey, I gotta keep up with you when you introduce the boys basketball team every game. I mean, my goodness. Let me just tell you this: if you can't get hype for that, just go home, man. Just go home. So,
What a great week of basketball, though. Like those 4 wins. I know we're gonna talk more in depth about it, but that was a great week. You take away um the losses to Maryville, which came on the 29th and the 6th.
yeah.
You take away those, that's a pretty tough week. William Blunt, Harding Valley, Beard, and then William Blunt again.
Yeah. And it started with Farragut, and you hadn't played basketball in 2 solid weeks, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah,
and
very
that
again.
and two pair, not to get ahead, because we're going to talk about the standings of the district and everything and where everybody's at. But I'm be honest with you, I still look at Farragut, and I know that we had a bad third quarter and everything, but I just don't understand how we're their only win in this district. I mean, they've lost some heartbreakers in
I
overtime.
I don't get. I really don't get it about Farragut. I I I think JP's a good coach. I
Yeah.
um I think he's got a talent. His sophomore class may be the most talent, and you're losing one of the Van Ackers. You're losing Aiden.
Hmm.
If you build around Dom and I want to say Nero, maybe
I think he's a junior. I think he is. So yeah, he's
but
coming back. And you said that sophomore class is pretty talented of theirs. So yeah,
Lanning, leader of that sophomore class. I think Daniel Lanning is. I think he's going to be one of the better players in the city from Farragut. Farragut's got a talented group. I
they kind of remind me of us last year. They were in a lot of ball games, but we're young, because this junior class that I feel has taken a step for West in basketball. They were young last year. They were competitive, but they just were sophomores. They were super softs, as I like to call them, and now they're yeah. So
They were that I think the way they played last year kind of prepared them for this year
hmm.
because they've had some tough losses. Especially I think the tough losses to Maryville
Yeah.
kind of stick out. But when you look at the way they played, I think their best half of basketball was against William Blunt.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that. We got to get into these football, like
Yeah.
National Signing Day. Can I ask you a question?
You can, brother. Do it.
Um, in all of your life, signing day was always a big occasion.
I took off from work. I would call in. I would sit there just to see. Everybody should know I'm a Miami fan. I want to know who was going to Tennessee, who was going to Miami, who was going to the rivals, the hat tricks. I mean, it was a day of passage.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, well, you and me are on the same page, brother. Once upon a time, the people today will not know what that was
No,
20 years ago.
no, they will never understand what signing day. If you were in high school, you played sports, and you saw where who was going to where, and you can follow their career now.
Mm-hmm.
You play with them on NCAA college football. That's what the beauty of it was in that time frame when we were growing up. These kids don't understand what signing day is. Like signing day, kids would get out of school. There was press conferences. There were a list of hats, and the kid would fake out state, go to Miami, fake out Florida, go to
Yep.
D, fake out Texas, go to Texas A&M, fake. That's what it was.
Yep.
Signing signing day was an occasion.
It
You know
was.
what I mean? It was an occasion to wake up early and see ESPNU's ranking, and you're looking at your team go from 5 to 3 to 2 to 1 just because they signed one 5-star that nobody else can get.
And do you remember? And shout out to Shane McGee, my brother, another guy from 2003 representing. Big
Representing.
fan of the show. And I gave you a shout, Shane. I don't know if you watched one of the other episodes, but I gave you a shout for joining Tune Up, man. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you got over there to that Carnes location. I hope they're treating you good. As you can see, my girl Kim did me before the show and so forth. She always takes care of me. Shout out to Miss Kim Castle over at Hardin Valley.
Shout out to Shane's daughter. I won't say Shane's daughter just had a birthday. Let's
Yeah.
love on the show.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, he's like the most awesome father. I mean, he cooks. I mean, ladies, I don't know if he's seeing anybody, but that's a single dude right there. We'll do Love Connection on this thing as well. But no, he's right. Early signing days killed what it used to be, and the sad thing is I feel that I watch the early signing day obviously because that is now the signing day, but it loses its luster because it's right in the middle of the bowl games. It's right in the middle of Christmas and Hanukkah and all that. It's also right there with all the other sports, NFL last couple of weeks, the NBA and everything. They like to always be marquee there in December to get people interested on the back half. It was a good filler for February. You know what I mean? Like when you're just like lugging for college football and kind of transitions you to the spring practices. And then, you have those awful dog days of summer where you were reading your Lindy's or Athlon Sports. I mean, that was back in.
String Smith.
Yes.
Smith.
Yeah. Hey, what about Phil Steele's too? Like, I mean, like they had them all.
Hold
Man, so.
Look, hold on. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Look at that, man. I think I have that same one, two pair. I really do. I think I do. So, yeah. Thank you, brother Shane. Always so much love, man. Always so much love. Thank you for the shout out with the beard and so forth. But I'll tell you though, real quick on that old early signing days though, two pair. 8 o'clock in the morning, they had the coverage going, and it was like you were right there for that hat trick. Because think about it, you went where the guys were at. There was the Pacific time zone; they were more later in the afternoon. But this was an event from like 7 in the morning till easily sometimes 8 o'clock at night, where they'd even bring some of the dudes in a studio out there in Los Angeles, Fox Sports, the old Fox Sports South, and all that. So yeah. But yeah, yeah. Shane's got a great point right here too. Pear, what's your thoughts on this? The other thing is you aren't seeing kids going to big programs on signing day. Kids are going to smaller programs and then hitting the portal to the bigger program a year or two later. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
the transfer
absolutely.
portal, the NIL, college football is not what college football used to be.
Yeah,
College football is minor league football, so you don't want to play in the UFL. You want to
yeah.
go to the NFL. This is basically your audition. It's college football now.
Yeah. Oh,
This
and let's not forget. What about? Remember the JUCO? Like, remember, like you would get like a good JUCO player once in a while and so forth. I mean, because maybe their grades weren't in line. I never hear about that stuff anymore. Like,
no,
you
those days.
don't.
Those,
You hear about guys transferring from smaller programs, like what Shane's saying and so forth. So,
yeah, because now you're starting to see. Okay, I played at Syracuse. I led them in receiving. I'm gonna go to Ohio State. I played. I played well at Wake Forest. I'm gonna go to Notre Dame.
yeah.
That, that's basically what you got going on right now in college sports. It is now really the minor league because they're basically getting paid now. So
Mhm.
that same player have the same hunger to make X amount of zeros, or they content. There's a dude in college for his ninth year.
Oh, I know. Oh. And you know what the sad thing is? He ain't even good. Like us Miami fans, like we're like, dude, you're trash. Go. You're just a blocking offensive lineman. He don't even catch the ball. And I mean, they even like tried to like spin it and have his mom be on there and why he get in the ninth year and he had some injuries at Oregon, but it's like, dude, you are like beating Chris Winkie. No offense, but Chris Winkie at least played minor league baseball. He came after the fact. Kelly Washington was 24 years old when he was with the Vols and so forth. I mean, a lot of people forget that. I mean, he was a grown man out there playing ball when he played and so forth. Him and Stallworth was two of the best receivers I've ever seen on the field with the Iceman back in the day. So, but yeah, people won't remember that. And then it's so funny you mentioned Syracuse. I mean, dude, once upon a time, Syracuse was the it program. I mean, they hadn't been relevant since Donovan McNabb was there, and people
Like,
forget Jeff Hall had a late second field goal to beat them in that magical 98 season for the Vols.
yeah,
So, yeah.
first season, first game of the season.
Yep, up in the Carrier Dome, up in that, and that used to be a place where programs got beat. Nobody went in there and won. They beat Virginia Tech. Like they were like the team. They beat Miami a couple times. I mean, honestly, I'm just shocked and I really thought Dino Barbers was doing a good job there for a while. But I just really think they love basketball, even now Boeheim's gone and everything. But it's just crazy. Like you said, you got programs that have dudes that are now going to Georgia and Ohio State, and that wasn't the case 20 years ago. It just wasn't. So yeah,
No, it wasn't the case where you would be jumping from like Syracuse is a great place to play. The Carrier Dome, and you think about when Miami did lose to Syracuse. I want to say I can't remember the quarterback. I want to say Donovan McNabb was at
yeah,
quarterback,
he was.
and I want to say this springboarded Miami when they beat
It
UCLA.
was very good memory. Yeah, Miami lost 66-13 in that game, and that's the infamous game that Curtis Johnson, who was the receivers coach, had Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, Andre King, and Daryl Jones, and he made them come out to the tunnel and basically said, "Look at them celebrating. That's going to be us." And basically, they beat UCLA the next week, helped Tennessee, even though I believe Texas A&M also upset Kansas State and so forth. But
Yeah, that
basically.
was 98. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that helped. That helped Tennessee secure their spot and also allowed Florida State to jump in, even though Winkie was out for the rest of the year. Marcus Outson was their quarterback. So Florida State got to go in because they had only one loss that year and two undefeated teams lost in front of them. But yeah, and then Miami from there really went on their run, the next 3 or 4 years based off of that loss and
Yeah.
everything, that sick talent that Butch Davis put down there and so forth. And of course, Florida State was stacked with. I mean, you think about that, man. Those teams back then. Literally, Florida State went to three straight championships. Miami could have gone to three straight championships. I mean,
When they did win the Ohio State game. It's like one of the worst calls ever.
oh, dude, I still have nightmares about that game. I still and realistically, nobody can tell me Miami's soul hasn't recovered from that desert floor in Tempe, Arizona. They just haven't. I mean, they just. I'm not making excuses. They just lost. It's like Ohio State took their soul and have become the it program because they've won a couple. They've won one since then, but they're always in the mix. And Miami hasn't even sniffed it except for the turnover chain that one year, and that was even fool's gold because Clemson took care of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just weird to see that, like, as you're getting older, like, look at the programs and how things change on signing day. And for the West kids, the guys that signed, um, like Marshawn Bowers and CJ Smith,
oh
like that, those are some big the schools they're going to.
yeah.
Like these guys can play right away.
He went okay. So we gave him props for committing to Emory and Henry. That's not a bad program, you know. I mean, but they're Division two. They play Carson Newman. They're down there in Georgia. You know, they got great academics there. You know, so but today he signs with Tennessee Tech. And you know what? Tennessee played them 2 years ago, was it? Or last year? I mean, Tennessee has played Tennessee Tech in football. And
Oh yeah.
so yeah. So Tennessee Tech isn't some like, you know, Division two team. They play Division one football.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's where the championship games were held before they went to Chattanooga. So, you know, they're going to play some really tough competition. And like I said, that kid can play anywhere: receiver, running back, DB, safety, you know, kicker, punt returner.
He's a
Yes.
plug and
Yeah,
play.
I mean, he is just an athlete, and that's why, you know, he was awarded Athlete of the Year. But I mean, the kid is a difference maker. Go back and watch some of those games. I mean, and the way he encouraged everybody, he's the ideal teammate, man. He is. He. You talk about a selfless player. He will do whatever it takes to win. And Tennessee Tech is getting a good one. And Tupper, tell us about our CJ Smith, man. I mean, you know, he had 40 something offers, but and I have the story behind it. I don't know if you had a chance to see the interview that was done with him of why he ultimately chose the school. But give the audience, where is Mr. C.J. Smith going to play ball these next couple of
Dr.
years?
Mark, he said at the Chattanooga. They got a good. I really thought, to be honest, I thought Purdue was in the mix.
Yeah,
I thought he would choose. I think he wanted to stay closer to home,
yeah, yeah.
and I think Chattanooga is the best option for him. But
Well,
there's
and
schools that he could have went anywhere.
he could have, and the thing is too is maybe he just liked playing on that field so much these last couple of years. It was like, hey, I've had some great games on this field. Let me keep it going and so forth. So yeah, and and realistically, the reason he chose Chattanooga, he said that the coach for Chattanooga in the snow during Snowmageddon made it a point to still drive up here and come to an in-house visit with him and his family. And he said right then and there, I knew that that was the dude that really wants me. That's family, and that's where I'm going. I got chills when I
That's
heard him say
dope.
that.
Pretty dope, man. That's
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you know, maybe Shane's got a point, just like what he was talking about. Sounds like a business decision. Go up against other D1 teams, get it on the film, and make the jump later. Again, Tennessee Chattanooga, another team that the Vols have played. They just got done playing Alabama this past year, so you know, Tennessee Chattanooga does play
They
some
play.
big time schools.
They play competition.
Yeah, they do.
They do. They do play competition. I will say that about them.
Yeah.
They competition. It's not like they don't play anybody. They play teams.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. And you know, and seriously, you look at him in general. He just got better, and you know, he's got a great frame on him. He can get some more weight on him. I don't know if they want him as a hybrid defensive end or they're going to put some more weight on him to be defensive tackle in the middle because he could penetrate. He was in a 3-4. I'm not familiar with what Chattanooga runs or what have you, but the thing is that he whatever defensive alignment they're in, he finds the ball. He finds the ball. He gets pressure on the quarterback and is just a complete animal that teams had to run away from him to the other side. And we're definitely going to miss him. Got a lot of guys still on that team, like a Wyatt DeRoche and everything, but he was a part of the defensive line for West that set the record for most sacks in a season as well as in a game when they played against Walker Valley in the semifinals. So, yeah. Well, and two pair, I think it's appropriate that you'd say the next guy. He's going to the school that you're actually wearing the shirt and so forth. So tell the people where the two-time Defensive Player of the Year for 5-Star Preps is going to play college ball.
I'm just surprised that he's going to the University of Tennessee, Ryan Scott. Like that's a big get. I think what he's gonna walk on.
I think he's a preferred walk on, and you know who else? It's really interesting. Not only did he get it, but shout out to Stephen Harmon's family because I know Stephen watches the show. Former player for West, Braylon Harmon, who was the offensive player of the year for 5-Star Preps from Catholic, who really had a very special season for them. He's a preferred walk on for Tennessee today. So Tennessee signed as two preferred walk ons, the offense and defensive player of the year for 5-Star Preps in this area. So
That's pretty huge. That's huge.
yeah. So props to him, and the accolades are so well deserved, hardworking, and I know he's going to do great things at Tennessee, and definitely looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. I don't know if I know there's some other guys on the team that are probably going to play somewhere. They just haven't made a decision yet. I saw that Britton Carver visited Memphis over the weekend. I don't know if that's going to be a full scholarship or a preferred walk-on deal, but that's pretty straight. And, obviously the MVP of the state championship game, 6 Horde, I hope somebody gives him a shot. And, guys like Connor Cummings and so many dudes, Hunter Dan, so many guys that were so good on that team. These kids are fighters. These kids are winners. And, my only advice to them is, play as long as you can. Injuries happen.
Injuries do happen. Players
Life happens, but you got to make those smart decisions. Don't. We've seen too many college careers ended because of unnatural circumstances, and I don't need to get into the specifics of that. But don't let anybody dictate your journey as a rebel with a cause. You are the pilot of your ship. You are the driver of your car. And, you just need to play until, you're done playing. And not everybody gets the opportunity to go to a Tennessee Tech or a Tennessee Chattanooga or walk on to the Vols. I mean, that's something. And nobody can take that away from you guys. I mean, your hard work has paid off. Shane McGee says CJ's a good kid. My son played with his little brother, so I've got to know them over the years. Yeah, they really good family. And I always had a thing with CJ's dad before every game that we would kind of do like a little like handshake or wish him good luck. And we felt that it was like the superstitious thing that he'd always have a good game if we did that. And of course we would win. And that was the main thing. So, and that started about mid-season.
Former VFL.
Yeah, Chavez. Yeah, he's a former NFL VFL, rather, I should say. And it's great family. Mom's awesome too. But that's just the type of kids that were on that team. They just really brought that lunch pail mentality and worked hard. And Lamar really talked about it. And like I said, if there's any other kids that sign somewhere, no matter how big, how small, Division III, I really don't care. We'll announce it on the show and give them their props. So
yeah.
Well, so now to the football and or from football to basketball rather, the hoops and so forth. Two pair. I want you to drive this thing because this last week was really special. Like, I mean, we saw a team grow up, and I'm not even really going to focus on the negative of what happened yesterday because with 3 minutes to go, West did have a chance to be district champs. Okay, West did have a great chance to be district champs. And just like how we're going to talk about how one game went, that's basketball, and it went that way for Bearden, like how it did for Bearden, to give up a lead to West at the end, and it just is like, you're scrambling there. The same thing happened to West yesterday on Tuesday. And I think the moral of the story is these teams' legs are gone. There has been so much basketball played in these last 13 days. As a fan, love it. As a player, you should love it, but at the same time, your body has limits and needs rest, and there's not much rest happening between these games. And it's almost like playoffs on steroids with what they've had to
Oh my
go
God. It felt like every game was a playoff game last week. And when we start looking at it, they moved up in the rankings. Now they're 33 in Tennessee. I thought that was that's kind of a big momentum shift. Um Away from the Rowdy House, they're 8-2.
Wow.
They can win on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, neutral floor, they're 3-0.
Yep.
At home, they are 500 at home. They've had some heartbreakers at home, and I really think they've matured a lot since that since their initial loss. And I want to say the Alcoa and Farragut losses helped his team grow.
Yep.
Those are losses you look back at, those are both home.
Mm-hmm.
Those are both home games, and you lose those out the gate to start the year. You're not starting 4 off with a good note. And then you go to Hardin Valley, you get a good win. You then come back home. No, you didn't go to Farragut and win by
Yeah,
3.
fair. Yeah.
Garrett Birch, who's been phenomenal, and we've um, just talked about the law firm of 3 of Schuler, Birch, and Dupree.
Dang right.
It's a deadly combination when you can get all 3 of those guys on the floor. Just they just played so well against William Blunt. Would be the game changing game for me. How they looked, they had that loss at home against Maryville, which they were gassed.
Yeah.
Tell, you can tell by the body language. They lost it in the second quarter, and we've said the woes of this team has been the second quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Second or third quarter, one of the two. I mean,
What woes of this team has shown, and in that game against Maryville on the 29th, you saw a team really just not be in rhythm, not be on pace. They just played flat.
mm-hmm.
They looked very flat. So the William Blunt game is the next night, and that's their best half of basketball.
Yep.
That in my eyes, that's the best half.
No doubt, no doubt. The only thing that I would say would maybe be even close to that was the second half against Bearden. I mean, obviously the scores
Yeah,
behind me that we were down 36-21, but to score 50 points in both those games. Obviously, the first half that set the tone against William Blunt, the second half against Bearden. So and
they might
and really,
halves. That might be their 2 best halves. Is the half against William Blunt, that first half, and then the second half against Bearden, which we're gonna go really in depth on that.
yeah, we are. I've got notes about that, and the Shane had a comment about it. These makeup games from the snow are brutal. Preach.
Oh,
Bearden had Farragut the night before West, and I could tell Saturday Bearden was gassed towards the end of the game. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you played two rivals back to back, and West. No disrespect to Hardin Valley, the score isn't indicative of how dominant West was against Hardin Valley. Excuse me.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, they made a couple threes there at the end that made the score a lot closer, but realistically, West had a 20-point cushion the majority of that game and got a lot of reps in there. I think we played 12 players technically because Dane started the game and they let him turn the ball over or something like that, and then he sat down. But the other 11 guys contributed, and I think that Coach Gaporo did such an amazing job with the rotation that game that followed up the William Blount game where, like you said, space and pace. And, and the sad thing is Jalen didn't even have that good of a game against Hardin Valley. That's he missed a layup at the end right before halftime. But he just like really it's scary how good West can be when Jalen's on and Devin's doing his thing and Kevin Jack is eating in the post. I mean, they are so deep. And then, like you said, if one of the three of Schuler, Dupree, and Birch is on,
Yeah,
okay. But if all three of them are in and on, like it was against William Blount, you can forget it, man. It's
yeah.
done. I hate to be that way. It's done.
I think Garrett Birch is the best shooter in Knoxville.
Yeah.
As far as catch and shoot, I don't think you can catch and shoot. It's got to be that three.
Yeah.
As catch, if they get into knowing that's their role on the team, is their catch and shoot guys. I think look at a better shooting team because what that allows Reese to do, who I think has been playing phenomenal.
Yes.
I think Reese Clark has played really phenomenal. I will say Devin Martin has shown he's the best player. He's one of the best players in the city.
Yeah.
Like this week showed it. He
Yeah.
had a phenomenal week, and he's also up for athlete of the week.
Yeah, he was up for it. He was up for it, and like 1,000 people voted for him for West. I know I voted for him. You talked about that Alcoa Farragut game, and I really would have loved to have seen. And we talked about how disastrous those third quarters were coming off of halftime, but Reese got hurt pretty early in that third quarter of the Alcoa game, Farragut game. Yeah, again, I am number one. Do not make excuses. You roll with what you got, but I would have loved to have seen a healthy Reese Clark finish the Alcoa game because him and Javin in that first half were trading baskets. Honestly, they really were. And then what if does a healthy Reese counter the punch that you got from the Von Ackers and Nero? I mean, they were on that night. So I'm just saying that a healthy Reese Clark along with Devin. And then the law firm, Jalen controlling the pace, Kevin bringing his defense and putbacks. I mean, goodness gracious, it's a team really
Footwork,
built for a district tournament. So
his footwork. Kevin Jack had a couple of moves that were just like goodness gracious. Like you can't guard that. Devin on the post. When Devin gets the ball in the post and his footwork and ability to contort his body to lay it off glass, they are. I don't think they realize how good they are. When we look at the numbers, after last night's loss, that's 15-6 or 7-3 in their own district. Out of 10 games, they've shown you that they're one or two in this district, at
yeah,
least two. And one thing I'll say, moving up in these Tennessee rankings, because I want to say they were like 41 at one time.
yeah. You said they had dropped after that Farragut loss. Like that really dropped them bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it
that
really and you said it best. Like you look at that game. It's two different teams from that Farragut game back on right when the year started to now. I mean, it's really incredible the difference in the team.
yeah, and I think the William Blount game showed that.
Yeah.
William Blount game showed me that they can put together two halves of basketball. and I think they had to show a willingness to do it. I will say, I would like to see. You got to get Dane Clark in some time. Like see some. He's got to see some type of minutes when you got Dane Britton hurt.
Yeah.
Um, just the young. I got to see more of Malik Wilson.
Yeah.
I think Malik Wilson's earned the playing time. You got to get him in there quicker in the second quarter.
Yeah. Chris Cowan. Oh my God. Why is Chris Cowan not? I mean, that was the jolt off of the bench in the Bearden game.
Chris Cowan not getting more minutes. He plays defense. He boxes out. He gives you he can go in and out, and he can shoot. He's a lefty.
Yeah.
What Chris Cowan needs more. Here's the guys I think need more playing time on the floor.
Yeah.
Chris Cowan. I'm definitely gonna say Malik Wilson.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal. Malik Wilson covers up so much ground.
Yeah. And he was a spark against William Blount. I mean, he was all over the court defensively in that game.
Yeah. The guys that are going for us inside, Devin and Kevin, let them do what they do. But we gotta find a rotation that has Garrett Birch, Dupree, and Schuler on the floor with Devin and either Jalen, or you can have it with Dupree. Give me Dupree, Schuler, and Birch on the. And then if you go with, if Dane Britton was healthy, a Dane and Devin, or you could go with Dane and Kevin, face the floor with those guys. Or it can get real crazy. You add Reese to the law firm of three.
Yeah, because he was shooting it amazing. Yeah.
You add that, then have Devin play post. Or you can even switch it where Devin and Kevin are rotational and you have in the law firm of three. Because like if you pace and space the court with those shooters, they're not getting in enough reps. Like they got to get into that pace and space we talked about with Jalen to where those guys get open shots. Because we saw that difference. We saw the difference in that in the William Blount game. I think that was the game changer was the William Blount game for me. It was the game that changed everything for this
team. You put that lineup of Devin, let's have Jalen run the point, or how about I got you one better. I'll go with yours. Reese runs the point because he can handle the ball. Okay? Devin's down low, and you've got Birch and Dupree and Schuler out there. You know, that lineup. You can't zone it, and good luck man-to-man, especially if Devin sets a pick or something like that. And then you could even do a pick and roll with him, you know, being taller than most of the guys he's going up against in easy layups too, because the defense is not packed around the rim. They're having to guard the shooters. I mean, this is strategy right here, you know.
Because the thing I like about Robert is an ice cold like demeanor. You don't see him get down. You don't see him complain, and that's the type of the thing I will say. The body language of this team has been great. Like they didn't show that they were going to lose that Bearden game. They came out like business because that first half.
Oh, they looked like they didn't even want to be there. You turned around. You turned around to me and said, you know, look, and listen, there's no secrets here, okay? We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it positive. But we looked like we didn't want to be there. I don't know if kids missed out on SmackDown being here or, you know, wanted to watch the Tennessee-Kentucky game. I don't know. Like, I mean, it just seemed like they didn't want to be there. And I'll tell you one thing, though, Bearden was into it. Their fans showed up. I mean, that's the other thing, too. I know that it was a Saturday and everything, but Bearden brought their cheerleaders, brought everything. And I mean, I didn't know that the cheerleaders for West weren't going to be there. I didn't know that. I mean, at least the football players showed up.
A
So
lot of girls off the cheerleading team had junior assembly.
is that what it was? So, okay, so that's what that was. So
Having a good old time.
yeah. Oh,
But
that makes sense then. That makes sense. So yeah,
but I will say this. Bearden gave everything to West. They
they
gave
did.
he gave everything
Yeah,
to the point of it felt good to yell sweep in that microphone. It
it
really
did. It did. And I know Shane works for Bearden and so forth, but hey, I want you to know something, Shane. I had a stepson that graduated from Bearden, so I had to hear it when Bearden was giving it to Wester in those years, in the mid-teens or what have you, the transition years between Herrig to Lamar now and so forth. But no disrespect, but yeah, we celebrated. I mean that. I mean, you got to think it was the first time since 2012. I mean, like Jaywan was on that team, Calvin Walker,
Carson.
Chris Smith Jr., Carson Brooks. I mean, Otis Littlejohn was on that team. I mean, for goodness sakes, like that was just a very, very. It's been years. It's been 12 years,
Mm.
and realistically, it was looking like it wasn't going to happen. And then in that fourth quarter, like I've got some key things that happened.
Okay, list them out because I got some key stuff.
Yeah,
Probably it goes alongside of that key stuff.
yeah. So these were some key moments. With about a minute 30, with about
Mhm,
a minute 30, West had trimmed. This is in the third quarter, okay? And remember, the score behind me is 36-21, so you got to keep this in mind. With a
mhm,
minute 30 left in the third quarter, West hit a three that made it 40-47. So it was 47-37 before that three.
mhm.
But then Bearden finished that minute 30 at the end of the dreaded third quarter that has plagued West so bad, outscored West 6-3 in that final minute 30. And at the end of the third quarter, it was 43-53. So that was the score going into the fourth quarter, 43-53,
Mm.
Bearden's lead. So they had trimmed 15 down to 10. Then sometime in the early fourth quarter, actually, it was the first play of the game. I don't know what happened, but Bearden was lined up wrong on the wrong side of the court or what have you. And Jalen just took the ball and had an easy layup. I mean, and it counted. Like Bearden was even looking around, and I was like, you just gave us a free 2 points. That free 2 points was kind of the difference if you think about it at the end. But then Birch rolls an ankle, and he had a really good game
He was
up
wrong.
until
He,
the.
he had what 2 threes in that game.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. I believe so. I have to look up the stat. Um, but keep talking. Tell me what you saw during that same time that I was bringing up and so forth. So
I think the and ones were really big. The Reese and one was huge. The Devin Martin's and one was big. I thought Kevin Jack was phenomenal on the defensive end. It's just phenomenal. I really, I really got to find a way to get Christopher Calvin more time on the floor. I also like the offensive defensive rotation with Malik Wilson. I like the way that they're involving him, but I gotta find more time for those guys on the floor because I feel like Malik Wilson gives you another dimension. Christopher Calvin has just been he's just been the guy off the bench. The
and
guy
that was the spark in the third quarter. I mean, he didn't even play in that first half. And not that I will ever insinuate anything. Was he serving a suspension that we didn't know about? Because how does he not get in the game before then, Two Pair? How
yeah.
does that happen?
I don't know how he's not seeing any floor time because out of this junior class, he's what I call he's the diamond in the rough of this junior class.
Yeah.
He's literally the diamond in the rough because you know what you're going to get with Garrett. Garrett And Garrett actually played great defense.
Yes, he did.
Uh,
Yes, he did.
Defense and his rebounding, he's taken a lot of pride in it lately, and you can see it.
Did you see how tired he was at the end of the Hardin Valley game for how hard he worked in that playing defense in that game? I mean, and then the Bearden game, it carried over. I mean,
I want to say, what was his best shooting game? Was it with the William Blunt game?
yeah, I'm looking that up right now and so forth because the William Blunt game, he did have, I believe, 14 points, if I'm
I
not
think
mistaken.
I think
So,
I think I sent you the box scores from those games.
yeah, you did. You did. Okay, so here's the thing. Surprisingly, Birch didn't even score in the Bearden game. Okay, so he was
Well,
playing defense there.
I
But
didn't.
the Hardin Valley game, um, let me see here. The Hardin Valley game, he had 19 points. He was unconscious from
Yeah,
3 point. Yeah, so that was the game he had the best game. So
Harden.
19, Hardin Valley. Yes.
That was his best shooting night.
Yeah. Yeah.
He, that's why I say he's the best shooter in the camp. Like catch and shoot on rhythm. If he develops shooting off the dribble next year, Knoxville be very afraid.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And here's the thing: in
Because
that Hardin Valley game, Devin Martin had 21 points. But by the way, for the final score, in case you didn't know it, West ended up winning 80-67. Okay,
thank you for
Devin Martin had 21 points in that game, and he didn't even really play that fourth quarter. I think they kind of took him out and rested him a little bit. Garrett Birch had 19. Kevin Jack had 12. Reese Clark had 9 points, so he had three threes in that game. Jalen Hill had 7. Like I said, it wasn't the most impressive scoring game, especially with what he did against William Blunt. Joe Dupree of the law firm of the three had 6 points himself. Chris Cowan had a 3 pointer, and Robert Schuler had a 3 pointer as well. So the law firm of the three had 28 points combined. And if they give you that, I mean, wow.
yeah.
Wow.
What you got to get at least if you can get 30 points from the law firm of three and get roughly around that the same kind of contribution between Kevin and Devin,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then Reese and Jalen have to be in sync. The team goes with Reese and Jalen.
They do. They
They
do.
they go with Reese and Jalen
Yeah.
because if Jalen is active in transition and what he's able to do defensively, I tell him every game, you pretty much dictate the game. You dictate the game. You set the pace for this game. If it's going to be a slow half court game, it can be that. But you have the skill set to be able to maneuver around your defender. And I love the fact that he's going to the rim and getting contact and drawing fouls.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. I mean, he needs to. He needs to. And I wasn't seeing that against that first Farragut game. But since, he really has tried. So you wanted to go to the Bearden game for that box score. And of course, we can talk about what happened in that fourth quarter, but realistically, so Birch gets hurt, rolls an ankle at the 4-minute 31 mark of the fourth quarter. At that point, it's Bearden 63, West 56. Okay, so that's with 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Um, I mentioned to you Bearden's number 12, the one that you remembered from UT. They got a shirt. What was his name for
Capture,
Bearden? Capshaw.
John,
I was surprised at what his box score was because I swear every time he shot it, it went in. And Bearden was really hitting their threes and really coming out pretty good.
Capshaw and Nordine are just, oh man, Nordine is nice.
Yeah, and they go deep too. I mean, they went 10 deep. I mean, I've never questioned Parrott's coaching. I mean, and his rotations. I mean, he's a state champion coach for goodness sakes. Um, but yeah, so then foul trouble started to mount for them. One of their big guys fouled out. Kevin Jack was even on the bench at that 4-minute 31 second mark. But around that same time, is when free throws were being shot the rest of the way. So, and you mentioned that 5 mark. As soon as you get to 5, you shoot free throws the rest of the way. And Beard and his big men were in trouble, foul wise and so forth. And like you said, the moves that Devin and Kevin were putting in, and then finishing those and ones. I mean, the refs had to call it. I mean, there's no way to guard that. You have to stay still. You can't move your feet or what have you. And they were moving their, you have to move your feet when you're playing defense, and they were standing still. And I mean, there was contact. I don't know. I mean, it's just how the game is called, and we've been on the other end of that with the Alcoa game where nothing was called. But still, uh, around 54 seconds though, it was 68-70, and that missed. Well, actually, right before then, you mentioned a part where Reese got the and one. That really that got it to the 68 and so forth. So talk about that play because you had the best view of it.
As soon as he got to the bucket, I really it was either going to be a charge or a block. It was just hard to tell if he was going to receive the foul. And lo and behold, he still received the call, which was crazy to me that happened. So
that is. I mean,
monumental, like the ups and downs of it. When it got to 6, when it got to 3, when it got to 2, you were just like, and then when Christopher Calvin shoots at 3, it spun for an eternity.
It did feel like that.
It was an out of body experience.
It was, and the minute it left his hand, I knew it went through. Like I knew it was going to go through. It was like and he had a hand in his face too, and he willed it in. And the reaction of the West crowd was pushing them. And like Shane mentioned, the tired legs of Bearden beating your rival the night before. I mean, it and yet there was still 8 seconds left on the clock. And you even said, this is not over. This is not over. We've been on the end of that where we thought we had a victory and somebody magically goes a layup or a tip in or a 3 from half court. And somehow that shot by Capshaw bounced off the rim and time had expired. Thank God. I mean,
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's all I could. I felt sorry for him, but Nordine was unconscious. That kid,
it was.
Nordine is a problem. I really thought King Hubbard was gonna. I was gonna say his name more offensively.
Yeah. He was passive. He passed the ball a lot. He was passive. I don't know why.
Mahoney played well.
Yeah.
I thought I was just more impressed with all the guys. I think Nordine and Capshaw. Capshaw's going to be such a good player.
Yeah.
He's such a good player.
Yeah. They're a young team themselves, like they're, I mean, it's crazy to think about how competitive this district really is. I mean, it really is something. I mean, at this point, so but Shane said he's pretty sure Capshaw and Nordine are both only sophomores. So there you go. I mean, so you got these guys as sophomores at Bearden. You got the sophomores over at Farragut. I mean, and here's the thing: Schuler and Dane, they're sophomores for West. I mean, there is a lot of talent in that class across Kingston Pike. There really is.
I really wish if I get a chance, I really want to go to some of the practices with Dane and work on his footwork. And I think Dane Clark is going to be a diamond in the rough if he really wants it. I think Dane Clark can be something special. I love Malik Wilson, man. I'm a Malik Wilson fan. I think Malik is just a true. I think he's one of the best defensive players on the team. And I just love what Chris Calvin gives you. Chris Calvin is, if we get more playing time out of Chris Calvin, you're looking at a team that could be state bound. If you get that production and if you get Dane Britton back Friday. Losing Dane is, I think losing Dane changes about 3 or 4 ball games.
Yeah. I mean, because it's another 6'6" guy. I mean, you just think about that. Like no disrespect, you're going from a 6'6", 6'3" guy to, a 6'2" guy and a 6 foot guy as your backups or whatever without Dane being in there. Shane also mentioned Bearden's big man Smith. He's only a sophomore also. So that's another dude that they've got that's in the mix. I mean, like that's
Is
a lot of talent.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm giving a big shout out to Lee Smith, who his I want to say, I don't know if that's his son.
It is. I think it is his son. It is his son. Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. Yeah.
Big Smith is a problem.
Yeah.
Smith is a problem. That
Yeah.
Bearding team, that Bearding team is gonna be nice.
Well,
I like what they have. I like what they have.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, and this might be moving up ahead. The only thing I'm going to finish with is that Jalen Hill, 2-point layup off of the missed free throw, and then knocking down that and one himself, that really made it 72-71. And then obviously West got the stop, and then Cowan makes the three, and then that's the end of the game, and 73-72 West wins. The box score real quick with that: Kevin Jack finished with 18 huge points. Devin Martin, I mean the balanced scoring was incredible. Kevin Jack 18 points, Devin Martin 17, Jalen Hill 14, Reese Clark 12. Christopher Cowan 8 points in that second half. None of it was scored in the first half. What about Hunter Dance finally getting them layups to go in there? Those 4 points were huge when he came in there in that fourth quarter. I told his mom after the game, I said, this was his true senior night, like against Bearden. Not last night against Hardin Valley where the flowers and all that. I mean, he didn't score in the Hardin Valley game, gave good minutes defensively. But those 4 points, you don't have those 4 points, you're losing 73-60 or 72-68 or 69 rather without his 4 points. So it was a team effort. Jack Keith gave you a few minutes off the bench. Again, Birch defensively and then got hurt. So Dupree, I was surprised. I thought Dupree had a 3 in this game, but I guess he had a couple rim out. And I swear we've had those all like season long, it feels like, where the ball's in the cylinder and pops back out. And I watched Marable like make everything, it feels like, or a Bearden or someone like that. And I'm just like, man, I wish our shots would fall like that sometimes. But they still are amazing shooters, and it proved in that Hardin Valley game. I mean, it really did. So yeah,
Yeah, it's just trying to see these guys get more time on the floor. This junior class, I just really think this junior class is the class that's going to do it for us. The sophomores are looking good. The the freshmen, I really want to. I haven't got to see Dave Sanders, but to be a varsity player as a freshman, you must be pretty good.
You have to be. I mean, no, you definitely have to be. I mean, and here's the other thing too. We were talking about. I'm trying to look for a. Okay, so so you have Saturday's game, which was I mean, jubilation. First time that West won both games since 2012. Sunday you rest, Lord's Day, and then Monday you're back on the road against William Blount, the team you faced Tuesday. 6 days before, after already playing 2 more games.
They've beaten William Blount both times soundly.
Oh yeah, no, and that's really why I put certified sweeper there or whatever like that, because we, being a Windsong doorman, rest in peace Windsong, no longer there. But
Man,
when I was a doorman, I had my little broom. I mean, that was really for William Blount and being a certified sweeper there. Honestly, I mean, we just absolutely torched them. A second double-digit win. We won the first one by 16, and really at some points we were up by 28 in that game, and just kind of sleptwalked through that fourth quarter. But realistically, we started out the game hot. They kind of cut it down in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, their legs gave out, and West ended up winning 83-69 in that game. Devin Martin had 24. Reese Clark had 19. I mean, he was just amazing. Jalen had 16. Kevin Jack had 12. With Birch out, Dupree filled in and gave 9 points, and Christopher Cowan gave 3 points. And that's your total of the 83 in that game. I didn't see it. I wasn't there, but that is from the Rebel Hoops box score on Twitter. Shout out to them. So,
Man, they doing their thing. Cause like, I want to get, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to see more about him on Max Prep, but got to get somebody on that to do that for them.
yeah, maybe that's what maybe that should be our contribution at the end of this year and next year, just adding that or something. I
Yeah,
mean,
we should do that. Now, West now is the number 7th ranked team in Knoxville. So of all the schools that rank 7 in Division 4A in their class, they are the 17th team. But in the entire state of Tennessee, they are ranked 33.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing: they'd be ranked higher if they had won last night. You know, I mean, they fell short. A lot of basketball, like I said. I'm not making excuses. I mean, in that game, you had literally. I took some notes watching it on the NHFS network. You know, you were up 51-45 with 3 minutes to go. Maryville calls a timeout, and it was a great. Who's Maryville's coach again? Is it Lambert? Is that his name?
Wes Lambert.
Wes Lambert. Great coach. Great coach.
Oh, absolutely. But Wes is one of the best. But the coach staff that he has is fantastic. Like that staff is really, really good that he has at Maryville, and they swept West this year.
They did. They did. I mean, at least this game was way more competitive, and they did acknowledge they had to earn that one. And, you know, they were fresh as a daisy. You know, they did have their game on Friday night against William Blount that they had a miracle happen for them. But they didn't have to play a game on Saturday. They did not have to play a game on Monday. They were well rested. And I was really shocked that West was in it as long as they were, to be honest with you. I would have loved to have seen that game had it not been that you had William Blount before Monday. You know, maybe we had a couple days to get off that Bearden high and so forth like that. But realistically, you know, they went on an 11-0 run that last 3 minutes. We turned the ball over. There was a three-pointer by Reese that I thought was in. I thought it was. And if it goes in, that score is not 51 to 40 to 49. That score instead is 54 to 49. And maybe that kind of takes a little oomph out of their sails and so forth. But they did go on an 11-0 run to finish up the game 56 to 51. If you can tell tired legs, I'll give you this stats. Reese Clark led all scorers with 15 points. Jalen Hill had 12. Devin Martin 9. Kevin Jack 8. And two pair, they were missing some easy ones down low that they were making against Bearden. And again, that's legs. That's just tired legs and so forth that they normally make. Chris Cowan had 6 big points. Hunter Dance finished out the box score with 2 off the bench. So that was your 51 that they had.
It's not bad, but
No. And then what ended up happening was William Blount heaves a prayer from half court and ends up shocking Bearden at the same time as West losing to Maryville, and pretty much made it to where Maryville is the 1 seed in regular season district champs. West is the 2 seed. Bearden is the 3 seed. William Blount is the 4 seed. Hardin Valley is the 5 seed. And Farragut is the 6 seed. And here's the thing that's crazy. West really needs to take that game tomorrow night seriously at Hardin Valley and win it, because I know Hardin Valley is too. Because from what I understand, if Hardin Valley beats West, they become the 4 seed and William Blount drops down to the 5 seed because of the same record. And then they go to tiebreakers where it's like head to head and who beat who and everything. And that West victory for Hardin Valley will help their cause, because William Blount got swept by West. I don't think it's going to happen. I hope West has taken today to rest their legs and gets ready to beat Hardin Valley, and then they've got a game against Central that we'll talk about here in a minute. So, but they got two games in these next 2 days, and then have the weekend to kind of recover. I don't know the status of Birch or Dane at this point. He had the soft cast on, so what's his availability looking like? But that district tournament with whoever you got is next week, and Maryville is the host of both the boys and girls tournament next week. So,
yeah, looking at it with Maryville 9-1, West 7-3, Bearden 5-4, William Blunt 4-6. I think those are the four teams that Farragut's lost 7 in a row.
I can't believe it. I mean, I just can't.
That I just don't get it. They're more talented than their record.
They are, and shout out to Van Acker. He got 1,000 points. It happened the other night. Whoever they were playing, I think it was against Bearden. That whatever the point total, it got him over the 1,000 mark. Shout out to Jack Tate for that stat on Twitter.
Yeah, let's look at Hardin Valley. They're even. They're 14-14.
Yeah.
The team that causes the most problems besides Bearden is William Blunt. But
yeah.
Bearden is just so well balanced. They're well coached. Extremely well coached. I like what they have to offer. West, I really like what Gaporo has done for as the lineups, like more Christopher Cowan, more Malik Wilson. Go to your depth.
Mm-hmm.
Find ways to get Joe Dupree more shots. Find ways to get Shula shots. That's typically what they need to do, because with Birch being out forever, how long he is, he may be out. I hope not the district. I hope he's back after the Central.
I mean, I hope that boot was precautionary, but he didn't play yesterday nor the day before, or William Blunt. So, I mean, and that just happened Friday. So again, a lot of tight basketball trying to squeeze it in, and there's not a lot of time before this district, like not having this injury back in December or January. I mean, and, that's the other thing, too. I've noticed a lot of Bearden guys on crutches, too. I mean, like, they've had their fair share of injuries. Everybody's beat the heck up at this point. Boys teams, girls teams. I mean, they're all beat up at this point, honestly. So it's a miracle they're still playing as well as they are at the high level.
I will. I've been highly impressed with Maryville.
Yeah. They just have that lunch pail mentality. I mean, they play, they don't give up. I mean, a lot of teams would have wilted when that 51, when that 3-pointer got made and it was 51-45. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking, oh my God, we're about to become the 1 seed and go from there. And it was like, no. And Lambert drew up what he needed to and got them focused, and they looked the part, man. They really did. So yeah, for sure. So yeah. Oh, by the way, Shane is such a good contributor, man, to this show. He always gives us scores and things like that, and when we can't look on the fly, but it is his son. So that is Lee Smith's son. So former Powell and Virginia Tech guy. Yeah. So let me ask you this too, Pear. Looking ahead to the district, so Maryville's got that 1 seed, 2 seeds West. Bearden's 3. The 4 seed is is William Blunt. Hardin Valley's the 5th seed, and the Farragut is the 6th seed. So let's just say that stays chalk at this point. Nothing, West
play Farragut. West would play Hardin Valley.
Well, actually, what I think they've changed, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Shane knows for sure, by getting that 2 seed, you get a first round bye. So basically, it would be the 3 seed Bearden. I guess think NFL playoffs. The 3 seed will play the 6 seed. So that would be another Bearden Farragut matchup. So now they've played each other 3 times in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And that's tough to beat a team. They got to play them tomorrow night at Farragut. but still, that's going to be tough for Bearden there. But my point is that the winner of the Bearden Farragut game probably plays West, and Maryville plays the winner of the Hardin Valley William Blount game on the other side, and then then it's for the district championships. Three games in 3 days, if I'm not mistaken. So how does the girls thing work by any chance? Like, are they the same? Like for example, they have their 6 teams, and it's right now Bearden who's number 1 in the state. I looked at and so forth. They're 22-1, 23-1, something insane like that. And West, obviously, our girls are in 6th place. But is it like Monday nights the girls, Tuesdays the boys? Do they alternate? How does that work? Because I'm just trying to. Or is it like
back in the day? It was like the girls and boys. They never did them on I don't remember them the same nights. It was
I think it was like separate nights, and then like a part of me wants to say, but then it would like really be extending the season out a little further, is that the girls had 1 week and then the boys were off, and then the boys got the week, and then it was the girls region championship and then the boys region championship. I mean, I don't know if it's like that either, but I think they mixed them in. It's just that, again, you've got 12 teams. The top 2 in each respective boys and girls league gets the bye, and then it's a single elimination tournament. You're gone and so forth. But then what I'm curious about in years past was there was a 3rd place game, and the 4 teams, the top 4 advanced. Like West already is kind of guaranteed to go in the region. I'd like to beat Bearden or Farragut, to get that chance at Maryville and maybe win that district tournament championship that hasn't been done since 2000. But at the same time, it's like, I just don't know how that works. I mean, like, are you automatically in the region if you finish top 4 in the district in the playoffs? And then it's just about you go against that other side. I mean, I have to research it. I guess there's something on the TSSAA.org site of how that works. But realistically, this district, no disrespect to the other one, Powell's having a nice season. West has already mopped the floor with Central the first time. They mopped the floor with Halls in that holiday tournament. Oak Ridge always has a nice little team or whatever, but I just really think that West, Bearden, or Maryville, one of those 3 have a great shot to at least get to sectionals or what have you if the stars align correctly and so forth. So, being the region champion.
Yeah, I think if the stars align, with 2 games tomorrow on tap, Bearden, Farragut, Hardin Valley, and Central.
Yeah, so Shane said that sounds right with the top 2 getting the bye. Thank you, sir. Normally the girls are a week ahead of the boys' games, especially as you get closer to state. And let me tell you this, if that is the case, and this West team really can rest for an entire week after this getting this Hardin Valley makeup game in, and then the Central game that was always supposed to be it, Bearden's got a tough one Friday night. Bearden's got Farragut tomorrow night, and then they get Alcoa to end their season. So that's tough. That is tough to have that, right? I mean, that's brutal schedule. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just what's kind of, with those teams. And so I guess if Bearden West and Maryville get a week off, that should be a hell of a fun district tournament if that's how it really is going to play out and so forth. So, yeah. Let me ask you this, Bud. Speaking of the girls, they've had to play the same schedule, a lot of basketball and so forth. Just the scores to give the fans watching at home. They lost to Hardin Valley 71-29 was the final in that one. The next night they have to go up against the number 1 team in the state, the Bearden girls, who are just, incredible. You take one out and you put another player in, and it's like there's no drop off. And they really got a lot of their JV players. I'd assume that's who it is. A lot of playing time, and still ended up winning 64-8 in that game. William Blount On Monday night, the girls gave it their all. 73-19 was the final. And then last night against Maryville, much like the Hardin Valley game, they almost got to 30. They ended up losing 74-28 to Maryville. So, and tomorrow night they play Hardin Valley's girls, who are 12-12, 4-5 in the district. And the last time, obviously West played Hardin Valley was last Friday and lost 71-29. So that's going to be a tough game.
Playing Hardin Valley?
It's at Hardin Valley tomorrow night. Yes, the girls are. So the girls are at 6, and then the boys will be, we'll go from there. So, and then you talk about
Valley again. They beat them twice, though.
No, it's actually been that game got canceled because of the wind before the snow, the bad wind, and that's the game that we laughed at me because I'm the only one that showed up in the parking lot and there was nobody there or what have you. So that game is tomorrow night at Hardin Valley. I can't make it, unfortunately.
It's girls though, right?
It's boys and girls. It's both of them. Both of them tomorrow.
West has played Hardin Valley twice. The boy.
Supposedly not. According to this, that's the last district game from what I'm seeing. It's scheduled tomorrow night, 7:30, and it's the makeup game from the game that I was supposed to go to. But
no, Hardin Valley's got Central.
What day is that? Is that because West is Central on Friday? West is playing Central Friday.
Okay. There are 2 games for 4A district basketball on Thursday, February the 8th. The first game is Bearden at Farragut.
Yep, that's a makeup game. Yep, that's a makeup game from that wind.
7:30. And then Hardin Valley and Central. So
really?
Boys will play Central tomorrow.
Huh.
No, hold on. Let me see when this game is supposed to be.
Huh.
That game will be February 8th.
Wow.
Hardin Valley boys will play Central. So girls just may be playing.
Interesting.
Very. Yeah.
Maybe it is just the girls then.
Hardin Valley has an away non-conference game at Central.
Wow. Okay, so that's tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
wow. So Central plays Hardin Valley tomorrow in boys, and then they play West on Friday at West.
Yeah, so Central.
Okay.
So Central has lost to Hardin Valley. They lost to Hardin Valley on the 12th of December. They lost 54-49.
Hardin Valley did. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
No, Central did.
Central did. So Central lost to Hardin Valley. So, yeah. And you see, that's what I'm saying. Like, our district, if the 5th team beat the 4th team, which is Central over there, I mean, no disrespect. I just think our district's stronger than theirs when they get to the region part. Mm-hmm. So.
District 4. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, they just probably did not want to. I guess they didn't care to make up the game or what have you. So unless it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there were some games where the girls would play that were different than the boys.
Okay. So that's what happened there. So okay. Huh. All right. Well, so if that's the case, then all West's boys has got is Friday night against Central, then, which was supposed to be the end, pretty much, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, speaking of that, so Central right now is 12-14, 3-6. That's before they play Hardin Valley tomorrow night. When West and Central played back at the end of November, way earlier in the season, West won that game 78-45. So, and that was before the football guys even joined the team, because Hunter and Jack were still playing football when that game was played. So, yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. So Central, looking for payback, but what kind of mood is that West boys team going to be coming off this Maryville loss, and so forth,
Mhm.
honestly. So, yeah, but I'm curious to see. And yeah, and like if Shane's right about maybe there's a week between the girls district tournament and the boys district tournament. As a matter of fact, two pair talk about um, like if your thoughts on the district tournament. I want to look this up on the TSSAA.org site to see how that works with basketball now that it should be getting close. So
Well, I think it should have like a week in between, just because
mhm.
I think you gotta get guys healthy. This point in the season, a lot of individuals get tired, and they gotta, they gotta be well rested going into postseason play. Got to, because you look at a game that Bearden atmosphere that felt like a district championship game. That was a hellified atmosphere. And this is one of the best atmospheres I've been a part of in a long time watching basketball. Definitely was.
Let's see here. But they have the rules, but they have the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
I just really wish they could have split one game with Maryville.
It was close, man. It was really close. Like I said, I would have loved to have seen that game. Um, you know, if it had been played at a without so many games in between, if the snow had not delayed it. But I mean, all these teams are just beat to like nobody's end at this point.
They
So.
had a healthy Dane Britton. How different would this team look like?
Oh my gosh! I mean, those tired legs of Kevin and Jack, where I said that they only combined for 17 points. Usually, one of them gets that. Dane spells them, and that they're not tired. So
And not having Dane since, oh my gosh, December 8th.
yeah, yeah. Oh, so check this out. So the district tournament for Maryville, that's hosting it, is literally 212 to 219. So the 12th, I guess, is that Monday? The 12th is Monday.
12 is, let me pull it up. The 12th is a Monday.
Yeah.
So that's
So
12 to
so
the
basically it's
Monday to Monday.
Monday to Monday. So I wonder if they'll do girls one night, boys second night, that type of a thing. So if I'm not mistaken, the first round matchup, like our West girls will probably play whoever the 3 seed is, which I think is William Blunt's girls, by the way. So it'd be William Blunt's girls versus West's girls, and then you've got Maryville against Hardin Valley in the other game Monday, because they said that there's not supposed to be more than 2 games played per night. I did read that in the guidelines. So that'd be the girls on Monday. Tuesday, I would say that the boys' first round games would be, which would be Bearden against Farragut, William Blunt against Hardin Valley. Then Wednesday, I would say, unless they take Wednesday off and go to Thursday, and so then at that point, it would be Thursday would be the winner of the William Blunt West game taking on Bearden, and girls, and then basically Hardin Valley Maryville winner taking on the Farragut girls in the other game, and so forth. And then the boys would play Friday Then what? Saturday night would be the girls' championship district, and then Monday night the following week would be the boys' district championship, and then the region starts on Saturday. They get like 4 days off, and then you get that Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday thing, depending again where the girls and boys fall. So again, if that's the case, it's still good for West because we're not playing until Friday night. So it'll be a whole week off from Central till then to play one of either Bearden or Farragut, and then if you win that one, you're probably playing Maryville at their place for a district championship and make history for the first time since 2000.
Yeah, it's just playing getting the Bearden 3 times.
I know.
That's to
Yeah.
beat them 3 times is
And realistically, that's why I really wanted to win last night because if we'd gotten the first seed or what have you, I mean, let's be real. We get the first seed, um, you know, Bearden and Maryville are duking it out in that second game, and we're probably playing William Blount or Hardin Valley again, and we've already beaten them twice.
like I'm not worried. Like William Blount, they're well coached.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
say William Blount is well coached.
I just don't think they got the size and the athletes to match up with
I,
West. That's just the problem. So
I don't think I don't think they can really go toe to toe with us.
nah. Uh-uh.
But they could be one of those teams that could upset us if we take
They
them.
could. They could. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too. Like with it being that realistically you just have to focus on Bearden and Farragut. So it's like the Battle of Kingston Pike on one end, and then Hardin Valley got thrown with the two Blount County teams on the other side. I would love another shot at Maryville. I think we get them if we play them a third time, especially if
Oh,
there's rest in between the games. And I think that the boys are really playing. I want to see how they come out Friday, and I want to see who's available. And if you see Dane out there, that's really encouraging right there too. I know he'll be a little rusty, but luckily it was a hand injury, not a leg injury, so his conditioning should be okay. But just the shooting and everything like that is going to be a little bit probably behind. So
yeah, man. I think it was a great episode,
it
man.
was, man. No, I mean, I think it's going to be fun to see what happens Friday night. Obviously, I think the Rebels win that last home game and protect that house. That's going to be awesome to see. And then, of course, the district pairings will be official. Probably, we'll already know going in. And just a thing too, pair. We can talk after the show of what we want to do next week because I know next Wednesday is Valentine's Day. I don't know if you and yours has something going on or what have you. So we can talk about maybe doing it Tuesday, especially if the boys aren't playing and so forth. If
Yeah,
we want to do it a day before, so it's completely up to you of what you want to do.
we might switch it up and go
Just
Tuesday.
for this week, yeah, just like 1 week and so forth, and because obviously the schedule is going to be always an episode going, but especially if the boys team is still doing their thing, we want to make sure that they get taken care of, so and watched and so forth. And I want the girls to finish the season strong and don't quit. You got a game against Hardin Valley tomorrow night, and then you've got a game against Central on Friday, and then you've got district game on Monday. So you still got a lot of basketball to play, and finish strong and see where it leads for the off-season workouts. And like I encourage any young lady that is that's in the school that's even interested in playing or maybe too afraid to go out and try it. Honestly, I encourage you to be a part of that team. And the one thing that I really loved about the article of 5-Star Preps about this team, and you mentioned it earlier too, Pear, they said it best. They like each other. Not saying the girls don't like each other, but there's a lot about team camaraderie that helps and wins these games. And you can just tell when teams got good chemistry, that's half the battle right there. You learn to play with somebody else. It's amazing. So, yeah. Real quick, Super Bowl prediction. What you got for Sunday between the
It's
Chiefs and
hard not to bet against Patrick Mahomes, man. It's hard not to bet against Patrick Mahomes.
yeah, yeah,
It's hard. Like I've been going back and forth. trying to find any reason why I want to pick San Francisco to win. It's like Brock Purdy's got to play mistake
Yeah.
free entire game, or they're not going to win. I said the Chiefs were going to the Super Bowl earlier in the year, and I'm kind of holding true to it. I think you just can't bet against Mahomes, man.
Yeah. 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 Well,
Like,
and
hard to bet against Mahomes.
I'm going to tell you this. I just remember the 49ers and the Chiefs playing a couple of years ago, and they still ended up. The 49ers looked like they were going to win, and then the Chiefs came back and won, and that was the era, the start of the Mahomes era.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Realistically, I'm going to go with the Niners because, and maybe I'm going with my heart on this with Christian McCaffrey. I just love that guy watching him play. I
Oh,
mean, that dude is a dude, and I don't know if they've decided who's MVP. In my opinion, he's put up some incredible numbers, and what a cherry on the top it would be for him. I know what he would rather have instead of the MVP. He wants that ring. That's the thing that's eluding him. And running backs don't have that long of a shelf life. I don't care when you come out or when you play. And he's battled through some injuries. He's been with one organization and that didn't really appreciate him. And now he's with a new organization. And um, realistically, those Niner teams that won Super Bowls had great quarterbacks back in the day with Jerry Rice. They never had that running game to go with it. It'd be very interesting that this was the Super Bowl that was won for them by the running back and not Joe Montana or Steve Young, respectively. So, but I'm going to go with the Niners in an upset, but very very close. But at the same time, I would not be surprised if the Chiefs finish the story and win it again, back to back. Right? They would be back to back because they won against
and,
them.
and and hence I have a San Francisco hat on, and I'm picking against these guys. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know Jarvis Lockhart and Corey Davison will be upset if the Niners don't win. So I'm kind of rooting for them. That's another reason I'm rooting for the Niners for Corey Davison and also Jarvis Lockhart, who are big
Uh,
49er fans. So yeah, but
it's going to be a good Super Bowl. It's just the simple fact of we're watching it's two teams that are not far removed from the last time they played each other in the Super
I
Bowl.
know, I know, and that very rarely happens. The last rematch was the Cowboys and the Bills, if I'm not mistaken, all those years ago. The second one that was literally back to back, and it
Yeah,
wasn't 52-17, but 30-13 is still a blowout in my opinion. So,
yeah,
one last thing, um, man, that okay, real quick, Super Bowl hit. Um, are you excited about Usher performing at halftime?
yeah.
Good, good, good. I like Usher. I like Usher. So I'm hoping it's
It's
good.
gonna be fun. His performance is gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like it's just another stamp on his glorified resume because you look at it, he's a big he admired Michael Jackson to
yeah.
it. You
And
know,
he can dance. I mean, he can
first
move.
halftime show that I can remember was Mike our first halftime show in Super Bowl.
Michael, yeah, Michael did the first. If I'm not mistaken, Michael did the Cowboys the first Cowboys blowout, 91 or 92, something like that.
Rose Bowl, yeah,
Hmm.
Rose
It was
Bowl.
at the Rose Bowl,
So I
back
think
when they used to play in college stadiums. Could you imagine Neyland hosting a Super Bowl, man? Oh my God, this town would go unbelievable. I mean, if Neyland.
you fit 108,000 in that building
That's what I'm saying.
for the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
And here's the thing, Neyland Stadium is not like, how Michigan and Ohio State are, where like how Neyland Stadium used to be. Neyland Stadium's got chair backs now in a lot of the seats. They got two big screens. I mean, you
Yeah,
know, it'd be crazy. And they serve alcohol in the stadium now, so that wouldn't be a hindrance. I mean, that would be incredible.
if they had the Super Bowl in Knoxville, but I think you had a Super Bowl in Knoxville before you had a Super Bowl in Nashville.
Yeah.
That would kind of That's why I think he was trying to get that dome type stadium so that they can.
So they can host it in the future, So, well, and I'll tell you this also. I've always joked around. What about WrestleMania in Neyland Stadium? And Nashville's building that stadium for WrestleMania. And Triple H already said it. 2027 WrestleMania 43. Nashville's hosting. So that's what they've
So
already decided.
Bridgestone. I
No,
hope
not the Bridgestone. It's going to be the new Titan Stadium with the dome that retracts and everything that they just broke ground on. They said it'll be ready in 3 years. So basically, the first big event that stadium will hold will
it's
be in April of 2027, WrestleMania 43.
they'll
So
probably hold Final Four there too.
to see a Final Four there. I mean, honestly.
I think you got to do Final Fours in like Las Vegas, Phoenix, Atlanta,
You want to
Houston.
know something? Can I tell you something else? We were talking about COVID way episodes before, or whatever.
Yeah,
How is it still that the Mercedes Benz, which is the most gorgeous stadium, and the dome closes in 5 minutes? That's how fast it goes. They were supposed to host the 2020 NCAA tournament, and they didn't because it was canceled because of COVID. And then, if you remember, the following year in 21, they did it with no fans in Indianapolis. All the teams were there, kind of like what they did with the Disney complex.
mm-hmm.
I think that was a complete mistake not to give Atlanta the 22 one and just move everything back
Yeah.
forward. I mean, so Atlanta's not even in the cards. And I looked at the future sites of the big game or whatever. It's not even in the cards because at least Atlanta's close to us to go to. I
Actually,
mean,
last time Atlanta hosted a Final Four.
the last time Atlanta hosted a Final Four, I think Connecticut ended up winning it that year. Like it was one of the Yukon teams, maybe either one of Calhoun's last ones or the one that Kevin Ollie won with Napier, and I really believe that was one of them. So
And
yeah,
Jeremy Lamb.
that was the last time Atlanta hosted. I mean, Phoenix has hosted it. Vegas is hosting one, like you said, coming up. I
Houston.
believe Indianapolis is always very popular because of Hoosiers and all that. Houston did it last year, and so I think
Yeah,
Jerry's World hosted it one year. Dallas, the big
Dallas
yeah.
before. I want to say the last time it was like in close to New York was when it was in East Rutherford.
Yes, yes,
Can
yeah,
but
yeah.
they always used to have the regionals in Atlanta. Regionals have always been in Atlanta.
Yeah, because of that being like the South side, and then like the Northeast will pick either Madison Square Garden or Boston or Washington D.C. to host that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that area would normally get the East. You would normally get it in like East Rutherford when the Nets were there, but now
Yeah,
you Barclays,
yeah,
which a lot of teams were playing
yeah.
Barclays.
Barclays has hosted a regional
Bar-
final.
the
Yep,
Carrier Dome has hosted a regional too.
yep. It has. I'll tell you this: Los Angeles has been like the Los Angeles and Vegas have been Western sites. So has Phoenix, Arizona. That's been a Western site. I think one year Seattle hosted it. I want to
90,
say
no, 95. 95.
95. Yeah, they hosted it.
Now, and you know what? Seattle has hosted two of them. If I
Uh-huh.
They hosted, was it 89?
I think so. The one that Kansas won with Danny Manning or what have you, maybe.
That one is
Glenn
88.
Rice.
Glenn Rice is 89. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Was the one
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
that was the one in Seattle. And then 95 was UCLA.
UCLA with the O'Bannons. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, and then the Midwest has always been either Detroit or Chicago
Yep,
or Indianapolis
yep.
when they weren't a big one. I know Minneapolis has been
Field,
the Twin Cities. Yeah.
Ford Field is always,
Ford Field.
yeah.
Yep. The Metrodome. I remember the Metrodome in the Twin Cities or whatever, the Superdome or
That,
whatever it is now.
yeah,
They've
that was,
hosted it.
I want to say Duke got those.
Duke's gotten two there. Duke has gotten two there. The Who Virginia got theirs there a couple years ago. The year after they got bounced by that Baltimore St. Francis team or whatever, when they were the first one seed to lose, they came back the next year and won it in Minnesota. They beat Baylor in that overtime game that set basketball back with all the defense. So. What was it? New Orleans has hosted a championship. North Carolina's won a couple there before. San Antonio, the Superdome, they've hosted a few as well. Where the Spurs play, the Alamo Dome. That's it. So
The Alamo Dome,
yeah,
the Astrodome.
St. Louis has hosted one too. St. Louis has had some pretty good
St.
ones
Louis
there too.
hosted one.
Yeah, it was the
Yeah. They did. They did.
yeah, because the Rams used to play in that big arena that's their stadium that's empty. So.
I can't remember which one. I do remember. Like I vaguely remember St. Louis hosting a Final Four. What about? Oh, we forgot St. Petersburg hosted one.
Yeah, the one that UConn upset Duke in and so forth, the 99. Yeah, Tropicana Field.
That
Yeah.
Tropicana?
Huh?
Was that at Tropicana?
Yeah, it was at Tropicana Field. And the thing is that's where the Royal Rumble was this past year. Like it's that field that gets dogged a lot. Like, like it's there and I don't know. I mean, I wish I had a stadium that had a dome or whatever like that. I don't know how you can knock that. So shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also trying to think of. I remember that one year, the one that Arkansas beat Duke in was in Charlotte, and that was like the last one that was like in a small arena. It feels like, like it was like one of those.
Well, the Hornets still play in the Coliseum.
Yeah, they do. Yes,
I
yeah,
don't think the Coliseum anymore, but
yeah.
it was called when we were growing up. It was Charlotte Coliseum.
Yeah,
And
and I joked around. It was like the Hornets' nest. That's what they used to like, with Alonzo and Larry Johnson and Muggsy
you,
and
you
Curry's dad played for them. That was a fun team. So yeah.
but you would have thought Duke would have won the champ. Like they were playing in their own backyard. Like
Oh yeah. Well, hey, remember what they always said? If Antonio Lang's fingernails were a little bit longer, he would have blocked the shot. But it went for three, and that was the end of that. So
when that shot went up, that's how I felt when Christopher Cowan shot against Virginia.
yes,
It stood the test of time. You saw. I
yeah,
never seen like people get up to see a shot. It was just, man, it was crazy.
yeah.
It was a surreal out of body experience when Christopher Cowan let that ball roll. I was just like,
I'll tell you this: this team, I really hope. I mean, they've already made history a couple times, it seems, but I mean, why not us? Why not us to get that district? They've gotten. Here's another thing too. The 2012 team, people forget this. The 2012 team hosted the district tournament, but lost in the championship to Maryville. They
yeah,
did. And then they had to go to Maryville to win the region the next week. So technically, West's only region championship was that 2012 team, but the district champion was only 2000, the Mike Morrow, Michael Maddox, Spencer Davis team. So
Stewart,
I'm
Elton Thompson, Troy.
yeah, Thompson and Troy Mapp. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. That 24 years since the district championship has
That's,
come to West in a tournament.
that's
Regular season 2012 tournament they fell short against Maryville. So yeah,
that's interesting. That's
it
very
is. It's going to be something to watch and something for the boys to play for. And I believe in them. I know you do too. And I
yeah.
can't wait to watch them play on Friday night. Anytime to get to watch them play would be great. And I know that I'll venture over to Maryville for whoever they play in that second round. So yeah, after the bye. So yeah. Well, that's all we got. Next week, we'll let everybody know what day it's gonna be. Enjoy the Super Bowl with your families. Love one another. Boys, girls, get it done. Guys that are going to college football to keep playing, like Marshawn Ryan and CJ. Congrats again, and any of the other guys that signed somewhere. Let us know, and we'll give you your props. Last words, two pair.
Yo, man, it's just been awesome. This has been a fantastic basketball season. and just getting ready for a good game against Central. Let's close it out.
Yep.
The fashion to do it, and let's get ready for a district
Yep.
because they've got a chance to write their own script and take care and control their own destiny with
They
these
do.
few games. It has said a lot about this junior class and where they want to be in the lineage of West High teams that have came before them. Can they walk on those footsteps and grounds and persevere? That's what we're looking at from the central game on into the district is are they going to show some more resiliency that they showed against Bearden? Because it's really getting like crunch time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the team that's gonna be able to surpass all the expectations because a lot is riding on this junior class.
Yep.
A lot is riding on this junior class. This junior class doesn't get it done this year. I want to know if they have the passion to get it done next year because their window is 2 years.
Yep.
I think they've got the talent. It's just putting it all together.
I've said it before and I say it again. They're very reminiscent to the class of 22 in football. The Latham twins. That group of football players that just went through West last year. They had that window. They fell short against Powell, but came back the next year to win the whole thing and win all of them and so forth. I think this group could be special enough to get to sectionals, to maybe even. I've not really paid attention to the teams up in the Northeast for sub-state, but if they can even just get to Murfreesboro or Chattanooga, rather, I'm sorry, excuse me, it's Chattanooga this year. But if they can get to Chattanooga, and just to get there would be an unbelievable boost for them coming back next year. It's like, this is what it tastes like. So now you got to get back, honestly. So, but, well, we'll end the show like we always do, throwing up that W and so forth. Again, guys, if you watched it live, hit that like button and subscribe to us. And if you're watching it recorded, same thing, guys. And always participate on the chat. Want to give a shout out to Shane McGee, anybody else watching, always participate in the chat, hit it up. And as always, guys, go Rebels, love each other. And that's a wrap for tonight.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.